In Chapter 1, Harry Dresden races through a burning abandoned school carrying a heavy wooden box filled with puppies. Guardian demons, winged purple chimpanzees, pursue him, hurling flaming tar-like incendiary balls. Despite the fire and attacks, Harry manages to protect the puppies with magical wards on his duster and a fire extinguisher. After escaping the building, the demons merge into a massive, powerful demon that chases him into the parking lot. With help from Thomas, a vampire ally, Harry drives away while firing magical blasts, ultimately killing the large demon. On the way to O'Hare, Harry reveals he is returning the puppies to their Tibetan monastery owners. Thomas asks Harry to take a case involving suspicious deaths around a motion picture producer named Arturo Genosa, which Harry agrees to investigate, reluctantly, after learning the producer may be in danger from an entropy curse. The chapter ends with Harry and Thomas forming a tentative agreement for the case. In Chapter 2, Harry Dresden meets Brother Wang at O'Hare Airport to return the rescued puppies to their Tibetan monastery. Wang gratefully accepts the puppies, despite them being dust-covered from the rescue. Harry reflects on the sacrifice of a man who died protecting him. Afterward, Harry reunites with Thomas, who is casually interacting with a police officer. Thomas informs Harry about a social event hosted by their client, Arturo Genosa, a film producer suspected to be targeted by a deadly curse. Harry drives to the upscale Gold Coast condo where the event will take place. Upon arrival, Harry senses danger. One of the security guards is revealed to be a decayed Black Court vampire who attacks him. Harry narrowly escapes the vampire's grasp, realizing the threat is immediate and lethal, and that close combat inside the car would be fatal for him. In Chapter 3, a Black Court vampire attacks Harry and Thomas inside Harry's beetle. Harry uses holy water balloons which cause the vampire intense pain and burns, while Thomas physically kicks the vampire out of the car and through a wooden guard kiosk. The vampire, severely injured but alive, flees. Harry recognizes the vampire as one who was once alive at a masquerade and was turned by Mavra, a powerful Black Court vampire allied with Bianca. Harry suspects the attack is a trap set by Mavra, who could be nearby, invisible through magical veils. The puppies with Harry react aggressively to the vampire's presence, and one puppy even carries the vampire's severed ear, which is still moving. Realizing the danger and that discretion is key, Harry and Thomas decide to leave the parking lot and find a safer place, aware that Mavra is likely watching and waiting. In Chapter 4, Harry and Thomas arrive at Arturo Genosa's apartment where they meet Madge, Arturo's practical first ex-wife, who is hosting a party and has invested in Arturo's new film company. They are led to Arturo's study, where he explains that 2 women connected to him died under suspicious circumstances, likely due to an entropy curse, the Malocchio or Evil Eye. Arturo hires Harry to protect his film crew during the shoot, starting the next morning. Thomas warns Harry he'll need a cover story on set since Harry's magic conflicts with equipment. Justine, Thomas's lover and Arturo's second ex-wife, arrives looking concerned about Thomas, who appears unusually cold and distant. Harry suspects Mavra's Black Court vampires are behind an earlier attack on him. A tense moment arises when Thomas uses mind control on Justine to protect her from danger, angering Harry. Arturo pays Harry up front, sealing the deal for protection during the shoot. In Chapter 5, Harry returns home exhausted with a rescued puppy, much to the displeasure of his large tomcat, Mister. He tries to contact Brother Wang but fails, realizing the mountainous region where the puppy belongs is warded, making communication difficult. Harry descends into his cluttered lab, where he keeps a spirit prison containing a fallen angel and consults with Bob, a knowledgeable skull spirit. Harry reveals 3 demon monkeys evaded his paralysis spell, nearly killing him, and suspects Mavra and her Black Court vampires are in town. He plans to locate and eliminate them. Bob warns that vampire refugees are heavily warded and dangerous. Harry prepares for the new case involving Arturo Genosa, the erotic film producer threatened by an entropy curse. Bob explains the nature of White Court vampires like Thomas, highlighting their need to feed on emotions to survive, and warns about the dangers of their uncontrollable hunger, especially to those close to them. In Chapter 6, Harry wakes at dawn to let Mr., hosting the Spirit Bob, outside, then rescues the determined stray puppy from his lab's ladder. Over breakfast, he decides to stop the entropy curses against Arturo Genosa by finding their source rather than merely protecting the film crew. Knowing Black Court vampires may strike in daylight using mortal hitmen, He needs capable backup fast. He calls Lieutenant Karen Murphy.